So, like you said, when I was applying to colleges in high school, I applied to colleges in the US, Canada, Australia, the United Kingdom, and New Zealand. Obviously, those are all Anglophonic countries. I've always been to an international English school, so those countries were my picks. Growing up, my mom was always like, you're going to go to America to study. It's the best country in the world. It has the best universities. Obviously, when you come here, there's like you learn more than what you see on like the movies. I applied to like 15 colleges in the U.S., like 4 in Canada, um, then like about like 5 in the U.K., and I got into all of my universities that I applied to. I mean, it's hard to say, right? I obviously haven't experienced the other countries, but obviously, as you know, if you're a student in America and you're international, like the work visa situation right now is like not good, right? Like every morning I wake up and I have to like check Twitter to see if like the president's done anything bad or is he like going to cancel our visas and stuff. And then I have like my friends who are in like Canada or Australia and like they don't have to worry about this stuff.
Hello, everyone. This is another episode of Tell Your Story. Thank you so much for your support, your feedback. It's been a long journey so far, and we've interviewed a lot of people, like people right now, and I really appreciate every feedback, all the views, all those that have subscribed to our YouTube channel. It's been amazing. I Someone reached out to me recently and like, oh, I really love your what you're doing, and it has really helped me, especially if I'm in this similar situation. This person was one of the guests that I interviewed was, and he said, like, he was saying that how it has really helped him to make some decisions. I really thank you everyone for support so far. And today again, I am having another amazing person in our midst. This person, from the get-go, when I posted that I'm going to be launching this program, he gave his support, and it's been amazing. It's been amazing, and I felt like he has an interesting story to share, and I would want him. That's why I brought him here, so that he can tell us about his journey. Anyway, before we get to that, if you haven't subscribed, if you don't know what this project is all about, the name of the project again is Tell Your Story, and the project is all about international students, people that were once international students, telling their stories of how they were able to transition from being students into their various full-time career, for those settling down in the country most especially. And we have our own Instagram handle at tellyourstory.tv. You can check our posts. We post every week, every now and then. And you can check our YouTube. That's where we post all the videos for all our past interviews. That is at Tell Your Story TV. Also, you can like our Facebook page at Tell Your Story TV, and on Twitter too at Tell Your Story TV. Thank you so much. And now I can't wait to delve into our conversations today. The My very guest is here with me. Well, virtually, we're still doing this virtual interview because of this COVID era that we're in. It has really brought a lot of disruption, but glad we're using technology to take advantage of that. So the name of my guest is Ayman Siraj. He's going to introduce himself. He works at PwC, and I told him I was checking his profile, LinkedIn profile. He has done a lot, and apart from being checking his LinkedIn profile, I know him very well, and because I too work at PwC, and he's inspiration. He helps people, loves to help people. He is a leader. He's a true born leader, and I can't but wait for you I can't wait for you guys to hear his story, his journey, so that everyone, me too, I can learn and get inspired. So, Ayman, do you want to introduce?
Yeah, hi Olamide. Thanks for having me on your show. Love it. Been following it. To introduce myself, hello everyone. As Olamide said, my name's Ayman Siraj. I am originally from Bangladesh, which is a little country tucked in between India and Myanmar. I was born in the United Kingdom, and then my family moved to Saudi Arabia, and then I was in Saudi Arabia for about 5 years, and then I moved back to Bangladesh for about another 5 years. and then after I finished middle school, I went to boarding school in India. And after that, I moved to the US for college. So I went to the University of Southern California in Los Angeles, and I studied chemical engineering there, and then I minored in digital forensics. Yeah, so that's my journey so far, and I graduated class of 2018, and after graduating, I started at PwC, where Olamide works, and I work in cybersecurity there.
Thank you so much for that introduction. It's, just like I said, if you hear what he said, he has moved a lot. He has moved around a lot, and one of the things that keeps on, like, why did you choose United States as your where you want to do your college education? That was like, because I know you could have gone to UK, you could have gone to Canada, you could have gone to different places, but why United States basically?
Yeah, so like you said, when I was applying to colleges in high school, I applied to colleges in the US, Canada, Australia, the United Kingdom, and New Zealand. Obviously, those are all Anglophonic countries. I've always been to an international English school, so those countries were my picks. Growing up, my mom was always like, you're going to go to America to study. It's the best country in the world. It has the best universities. Obviously, when you come here, there's like, you learn more than what you see on like the movies. But so interestingly enough, when I applied to like 15 colleges in the US, like 4 in Canada, then like about like 5 in the UK, and I got into all of my universities that I applied to. So I was just like trying to decide between like where I want to go. So in school, I was really into airplanes and stuff, so I really wanted to study aviation management. And I got into a school in Australia for that, and I really wanted to go there. But my mom was like, no, you're going to go to America. Like, you have to go to America. It's the best for education. So after that, I like looked at the universities I got into in the US, and I had only applied to universities that had like petroleum engineering programs, because this was back in like 2014. Oil was booming, petroleum engineering salaries were higher, and I had no clue what I wanted to study. I was just like, all right, I'll just pick petroleum engineering because it pays the most. So from my universities, I always wanted to go to LA. I love the idea of Hollywood, watching movies and stuff. So I literally picked USC because it was in LA and was also a good school. Like, I got into higher ranked schools, but I just wanted to go to USC because it was in LA. And like growing up, I just wanted to be in Los Angeles and like experience the entertainment industry on the weekends.
Oh God, that's good. That's lovely. But I'm sure you well, you say you didn't have a choice and you really don't know what you did. But looking back, do you think you made like one of the best choices that you probably made? Or don't let me put it that way. But will you say that coming to America was much better than the options you had?
I mean, it's hard to say, right? I obviously haven't experienced the other countries, but obviously, as you know, if you're a student in America and you're international, like the work visa situation right now is like not good, right? Like every morning I wake up and I have to like check Twitter to see if like the president's done anything bad, or is he like going to cancel our visas and stuff. And then I have like my friends who are in like Canada or Australia, and like they don't have to worry about this stuff. So it's like the education was great, but the work visa situation, it's always a problem. Like every morning I'll wake up and like think about it, and that is like there's no certainty here on what happens. So that's the part I worry about. But as far as like choosing America and the experiences, the education part was great. Like I made really good friends, learned a lot. USC is like super competitive, so it was like stressed out a lot and all of that stuff. But yeah, I don't regret the choices I made. None of us could have known the visa situation would come to this, but we just have to live with it, and like, if it comes to worse, find a plan.
I actually agree with you. I totally agree with you. And did you do any GRE, maybe any standardized test before coming here? How were you able to prepare for that in case you do that?
Yeah. So I took so for the US, as you know, you have to like take TOEFL to prove your English, and then for the UK, Canada, Australia, you need to take IELTS, and then you need like take SATs and ACTs for the US. So I took all of those exams just like a lot of international college students. As far as preparation, TOEFL and IELTS, I literally did not prepare. I just like showed up day off and like took my exam and did well. And obviously, because like I went to English speaking schools all my life, so it's like I didn't need much practice. Obviously, I'm sometimes overconfident, but IELTS was great, TOEFL was great. Like I passed with flying colors, sort of. So and then SAT and ACT, SAT and ACT I took. Also, me being lazy, I didn't study much for them. I probably just opened the book like a week before. My SAT and ACT scores could have been better if I had studied, but I'm like the minimum viable person, so I was just like, I'm gonna do as much as I need to get into the universities I need to, and so that's sort of what I did. Yeah, so I took GRE as well, like in college. Like when I was my senior year, I wasn't sure if I was gonna work at PwC or if I wanted to do my master's. So I took my GRE to like apply to some master's program. So I did that. Yeah, and as far as like going to like Nebraska versus Maryland, I think once people come to the US, you'll find out like any university in the US is very diverse. There's always international kids from everywhere in the world at university, maybe not from your country, but that's why you're coming to the US, right? You're trying to meet new people, learn about new cultures, find out about your biases, challenge yourself to think differently. So yeah, like picking a university shouldn't only be on location. It should be on like your major. Sometimes our parents and our older generations and uncles and every aunts and like they'll have their own like perceptions of what they've learned about America from the news. But the best way you can decide is like email students, get in touch with their International Student Association, be like, hey, I got into this university, I'm trying to learn about it a bit more. Could you introduce me to some of your members, talk to them? And you'll find a lot more, because like traditionally when international students try to come to the US, they're either targeting like the East Coast or the West Coast, or where they got the most scholarship because it's the cheapest, right? But so yeah, you should always do your due diligence and just like figure out which university is best for you as far as like research, scholarship, meeting new people. Most universities in the US are very diverse, and it's also good to like expose Americans as well to your culture as well. So if all of us end up in like the same cities, it's not really helping. And as you can see, that's the reason why there's so much divide right now.
Totally agree with you, and you made a very good point. But yeah, I want you to tell me, how was settling down in LA for you? Like, was it easy? Was it like, I know LA can be pretty much expensive generally, but so I was settling down for you.
I think it wasn't as hard for me moving to the US because like I'd lived abroad in other countries, right? And like immigrant communities around like other like foreigners, and I had an uncle in LA, so like moving in, my parents also dropped me off. So moving to LA wasn't that hard. I think adjusting to life in America was different because like obviously coming from Bangladesh, we're not a very rich country, right? So like there's obviously poverty around us all the time, even though like I might be privileged. I always used to experience that and always think about that. But then I came to LA, and then I started attending USC, and USC is crazy. Like you have just like super rich like international students, super rich Americans, and then you have like first generation students who are like immigrants, and it's just like a crazy mix of everything. So for me, it was very hard to process because like sometimes like there would be people who'd come to like school in like Ferraris, and then there would be people like who are working like 20-hour days to afford college. So I'm pretty sure that's also the case in a lot of other universities because college is expensive in America. But just seeing that divide between like the income levels was like the biggest adjustment to me because like I didn't know who to be at university. Like, do I like be who I am and just like, like I come from a pretty like well-off family. So like, do I be that? Do I just like be subtle and just like, and who to mix with? Because that also matters. So I think that was the biggest thing I struggled with.
One thing I don't even understand is when I was checking your LinkedIn profile, because sincerely, yes, I was telling Ayman that I really, really stalked his LinkedIn profile. I was like, you were in University of Southern California, and you also took a course in University of Melbourne, almost the same year. I was it an online course or what really happened in that instance?
Yeah, so when I started university, obviously like after 1 year of chemical engineering, I was like, I don't like this. This is not for me. Either I'm not smart enough, or I don't like it, or I'm just distracted. So I started thinking about like, hey, like, like, and it's too late to switch your major, like as an international student after 1 year, because you have your visa that's only for like 5 years, and you've already spent like thousands of dollars. So I was like, I'm just gonna finish the major or whatever, but I need to learn other stuff that I'm actually interested in. So I signed up for like an online certificate course through Coursera, which was like offered by the University of Melbourne. And I was always a business, like I always loved business, like management, and then international relations, public policy, all of that stuff. But as you know, when you come to the U.S., if you have a STEM major, you can you for a normal major you get 1 year of work permit, and if you're a STEM major, you can extend for 2 more years. And so like I had to make that conscious choice as well, that like conscious or tactical choice, that like I need to major in something that's gonna like let me stay in America for 3 years and like gain the training experience or like find a job. So those online courses I took because I was like interested in them, and that's like my actual interest, like business and economics. So I took like a few courses on Coursera through the University of Melbourne, and then I did a few more with the University of Pennsylvania, and then like I took like courses here and there, like from other universities that they offer courses on Coursera. And that was just for fun, like when I'd be on the bus back from university, or whenever I'm like have like 20 minutes in between like classes, or I'm just like bored watching Netflix and like I wanted to watch something else, I just watch them and then just like, take the exams and pass, and all that stuff. I mean, I would say it's helped me because like I know more, and I'm like have more awareness of like everything else that is not cybersecurity, because like obviously my day job is cybersecurity, but like sometimes when you read the news and you're just like trying to figure out why that happened, like you read the news like the stock market's going up, but like jobs are just like falling, and like being able to debunk and understand the news is so important these days. And knowing as you progress through your career, like right now you might be being an engineer, or you might be a consultant, but you need to know more to connect with more departments and more people, right? So you need to learn about like economics, management, psychological behavior of other humans, how to budget like for yourself as you like start earning more, like how do you like save for retirement and all that stuff. And like studying management and economics and all of that stuff really helps in that aspect, because like obviously in university like there's no course that's like personal budgeting 101, or like when you start at PwC, there's no like personal budgeting 101 course, right? For those of us who have like parents that like went through this, like we usually ask our parents. For me, my parents obviously don't live in the US, so like they don't know what like a 401k is, or like a Roth IRA is, and all that stuff. So like obviously for us, we have to like teach that ourselves, watch it on YouTube, or just like make random decisions and like hope we made the right decision. So yeah, those courses helped me in that.
Wow, that's good. I'm glad did. I didn't thought of that while I was in school, but because maybe that could have also helped you. But probably because I love what I was doing. Because coming to United States, having spent 4 years doing computer science back in Nigeria as undergrad, I knew what next, and I've worked a while in Nigeria. Like I knew what I wanted to. I knew that I wanted to do something that bridges between technical and and management or business, and that's why I did management information systems. And when I started taking courses, security courses, I found like cybersecurity, there's a technical side of cybersecurity, and there's also this business side of technical security, technical side or management. Then we put like risk management, strategy, governance, risk and compliance. I'm like, this is cool. I love it, and I enjoyed it. The lecturer made me to love it. I'm like, let me just go for it too. Maybe that was the reason why. But one thing I know is definitely like for international students, especially like we need to like even though you feel like this course is not good enough for you, you need to go out there and even take Coursera has a lot of courses that you can take from and study and get your nano degree programs and things like that. And some schools I partner with Coursera to offer free courses, or LinkedIn to offer free courses too. And those are things that we can take advantage of. But I don't know whether you see this, and probably I asked my last guest that, hey, do you see what behavior do you see with international students when they come in here? in terms of even while they are in school and schooling. Yes, you said just while you're in school, you were thinking about what you need to do, what you're going to do after. Do you think international students are cognizant of that? And if they are, do you think they are making any effort while in school to really prepare themselves for the turmoils, the challenges out of school?
Yeah, so I think there's like two types of international students you'll see in the US. One type, they're just here in the US for 4 years. They're here to have fun. After they graduate, they're gonna go back home and just do whatever back home. There's like the other type that's like here in the US, I'm gonna study hard. I really wanna get a job after I graduate and possibly stay here in the US for the long run. I think for the second one I mentioned, yeah, they're obviously aware that like, yeah, they need to work harder, have like a higher GPA, maintain their GPA, like start looking for jobs. I think the biggest mistake a lot of these people make is like they don't do it the right way. Like I think a lot of us international students, we show up and then like our career services offices will be like, yeah, career fair, like print like 30 copies of your resume and just like talk to everyone. Obviously you'll see at a career fair, like out of the 100 companies, only 10 companies will sponsor in the first place. And so like those companies have like huge lines, at least like at USC, like Microsoft, Facebook, Google, they always have like huge like 3-hour lines. And I think if you look at the perspective from the company, they're going to talk to like 300 students that day, as like the chances of them remembering you is just like very little, and they'll just be like, apply online and we'll get in touch with you, right? And I think for the most of us international students, we'll see we make that mistake freshman and sophomore year and we never hear back. And it's because like when you tick like I need sponsorship in the future, like you're automatically going down the no drain. Or so like I think that what most international students lack is like figuring out how to network well. And I think also like getting like the dress code right. I think some of us try to dress a bit less business formal, and then perception matters as well, right? So like you want to go like fully suited, like with a tie and everything. I feel like sometimes international students dress down a little bit. So all of those little things that like you're gonna make the mistakes when you first come to the US, but it's like as long as you learn from them, and by junior year you're doing the right thing by like networking, using LinkedIn and like connecting with alumni from university, or like you make a short list of 10 companies you want to work for, like find alumni from your university or from your country that work at that place, like message them. And I guarantee you, if you say you're from XYZ university, or like, hey, I'm Nigerian, I think you're Nigerian as well because your name suggested, or you mentioned somewhere on your LinkedIn profile that you're from Nigeria, yeah, those people are more likely to reply. And like you laugh at me today, but like I've messaged people on LinkedIn saying that like, hey, like I'm pretty sure judging by your name, you're Bangladeshi. So like I'm from Bangladesh. Like I'm interested to learn about your like journey through university and stuff. Sometimes like yeah, it's like yeah, hey yeah, I'm Bangladeshi. Like glad to help, but also a lot of Bangladeshis and Pakistanis have similar names because like before 1971 we were one country. So sometimes like it could be way off, and like that person would be like, no, I'm Pakistani. But like you can make educated guesses on like like by name, like where they're from. Yeah.
So yes, I know. I want us to delve in a little bit into that and tie it into extracurricular activities, because I know you did a lot of extracurricular activities back in school, and that helped your networking very well. What would you suggest? I want you to talk about it, and I also want you to talk about why it's necessary that people don't just go to school to go and study. They also need to do extracurricular activities, and how it helps in even help you later on in life. I just want you to talk about that.
Yeah, so especially in the US, extracurriculars are really important. I know for a lot of us immigrant communities, we come from places where just like our parents tell us like 4.0 is like needed, absolutely necessary for you to get jobs, because like in those countries, like that's how they place people in universities or like in jobs, right? They'll say like 4.0, or like you can't even like apply for the job and stuff. But like once you come to the US, like GPA and like how well you do is like one component of like what employers look for. Obviously, if you have like a 2.7 GPA, you're putting yourself in a hard spot. But if you're someone who has like a 3.5 GPA and like you've been involved in like clubs, you've been involved in volunteer work, that shows like you're a more well-rounded person. But more importantly, it signals to employers that you have the ability to work with groups in like an American context, right? So like when you're a new person, or like this applies to like not only international students, like this applies to like American students as well, right? Because like employers want to see that like you're interested in something, you joined a group that's related to it, you were a member first, and then like you applied for like a leadership position on the board and you did something. Like for me, I was part of like a lot of student run organizations when I was at USC. I was also part of like our undergraduate student government. And then I founded like the co-founded the cybersecurity club there. So it's just taking initiative. We didn't have a cybersecurity club. Well, we did, but we sort of rebranded, and that's what I was part of. And so just like there's so much opportunities at universities, right? Like if there's like an interest you have, but there's no club, like you want to start like a Nigerian Students Association because it doesn't exist, or you want to start like the consulting club because it doesn't exist in universities. There's so much opportunity at the university level for you to take leadership, and even if you're at like a more developed college where they're like all the clubs already exist, like applying for leadership positions, taking them, it's really important. Also, when you what you'll realize is once you have leadership opportunities and like you're interfacing with employers, if you're part of like a professional club, like you're already getting to know the like the recruiter and the people who recruit on your campus, because you're the one helping them like organize stuff and like figure out logistics and stuff. So I think, as you were mentioning, like how did being in clubs help with networking? It helped me a lot because like junior year I was like the corporate sponsorship sort of position person in the club, and so like literally all the companies that were recruited at USC for cybersecurity, I like knew all those recruiters from like those companies. So it really helped, and obviously it also let me help my other friends who are like, hey, like can you let me know like who's the recruiter for this company, or like what should I know about these companies? So it's like it's not only about like helping myself, it's also about like, and once I know this stuff, how do I help others as well? So right, like once you become more involved in university, it allows you to help yourself and also help others.
I this is really, really important. I remember when I came into university too, I knew that I had to stand out. I knew I had to do something more. But I didn't know the extracurriculars were very important. But thanks to friends in the school that already like I had already made some friends in school. They were telling me about how extracurricular activities is very important in the United States. And you nailed it when you said that back home, they always say, just focus. My parents won't say that, go to a club, go to this, do this, join this group and stuff. They won't. Anything that is not, won't make me either get 4.0 in school or make me get A's in school, or probably make me become more religious in quotes, they won't sign for that. So I was like, when I got to United States, I quickly noticed that is what is key. That will even position me very well, because I also needed it for my scholarship and things like that. So those activities really helped, where I knew I needed to take it. So when the position for the president for my student club, Management Information Student Club, came out, I took it for a semester, and I was the president. I was like, wow, this is good. Then I kept on doing it. I wasn't just president. I wanted to also make a mark, and I started, like, thanks be to God, I raised the organization from, like, the organization wasn't popular in school at all. It was nothing in school. It became popular within College of Business. It became also relevant within the school too. So I wasn't just president because I wanted to be president, or because I wanted use that name to get a job or get opportunities out there. I decided that, I'm going to make a mark here in here. So it's, apart from just getting those positions, you need to try to make a mark. And I know you did that because if you don't do that, you won't get to where you are. You won't be this charismatic kind of person that we know that you are right now. So yes, I one thing I just wanted to say before we close chapter with school and things like that is, or I would like to ask you, what would be your advice for students to handle financial challenges in school? You know, international student, one of the things is financial difficulties. What would be your, what do you think is the ideal way to tackle such issues?
So obviously, in the first place, you want to research when you're applying, figure out which universities have scholarships for like international students, or like even give financial aid to international students. A lot of universities in the U.S. will give you scholarships if you score, for example, like a 30 in your ACT, or get like, suppose when I was applying, like the SAT was on a 2400 scale. So suppose you got like a 2100, you'd get a scholarship. So research your schools really well and figure out like which schools you can afford. Once you get to the US, one thing a lot of people miss is like a lot of departments and universities have scholarships for like students who do well, get high GPA, or like continuing students. A lot of like alumni associations will have scholarships for like first generation college students, and a lot of international students don't apply for those because they think I'm not first generation, but like you are first generation because like it's the first time you're going to college in America. So like applying to those scholarships. Students on an F1 visa in the US can also like work, I think, for it might be 20 hours during the school year. And so when I was in school, like I worked in like our IT department as like a cybersecurity intern. I also like wrote for like our student blog. Obviously those don't pay much, but like if you work the entire semester, that stuff adds up, and it can like you can like get like $1,000 right from that. Obviously that's not a lot for like what the cost of education in the US is. um yeah, it's something, so you can use that to pay for university as well. So yeah, those are the options, and obviously you want to do your research on like if you're going to be able to afford the universities you're going to come attend in the US in the first place. And then obviously finding an internship in the summer that pays, which like allows you to like, you know, save a lot, because like if you get a good internship in the US, you can like save a good deal of money in the summer by like just staying in like college
I
housing.
agree with you. I agree with you. We're going to talk about internships though, but another thing is, I know you started off as chemical engineering. How did you switch into cybersecurity? Just within 1 2 minutes, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, for sure. So at USC we have like, the usual course load is 18 units, and like one semester I had 16, and like they make you pay for 18 even if you like take 16. So I was like, I don't want to waste this money, so like I had 2 units. So I was like looking up classes on like our online registration portal, and like then I saw like this class which was like introduction to hackers, and I was like, ooh, that sounds interesting, I'm gonna take it. So I took that class. It was like a basic introductory course into like cybersecurity, and then I loved it. And then and I loved the professor, and that professor probably became like my biggest mentor at USC. He's probably like the reason why like I'm so successful here in America, because like at USC, like yeah, I worked hard to get into it, but like at USC, like LA has so much to offer. Like I was like really distracted. Like I'd do the minimum studying. I like enjoy more of like the entertainment and the sports and everything. And so this professor was like the one, like I used to go to his office hours, and like I was lazy, and I'd be like, yo, can you like help me with this? Like I don't want to think about this answer. And so like one time he just got like really mad at me, and he was like, hey, like, you know, you have so much potential, like stop being lazy, start figuring this stuff out yourself. And then like from that point, like that was my turning point in college, where I was like, this was sophomore year, so my second year. So I was like, yeah, all right, I'm gonna study hard. I've come to America. And so yeah, that professor, just because he like became such a mentor to me, and I just wanted to take his classes. So like I just like kept taking the classes because he taught the next course in the series of classes. And then after that, I was like, I'm not gonna study cybersecurity because I was already struggling with my chemical engineering classes, and chemical engineering is like super hard, and like everyone in my college was like super smart, and I felt really dumb amongst them. So I was just like, I need to concentrate on chemical engineering. So like I think I told him like, hey, I'm not going to take your next class next semester. And he was like, you know, just do it, take it. And I was like, no, I can't, I have a full course load, I can't deal with this. He was just like, you know, just take my class, and you know, if it's the last thing you study every time, that's fine, but just take it. So like I took it. That was probably the best decision in my life, because like that led me to like, that was like the tip of the curve where I was like, yeah, I have 3 more classes to finish the minor. Might as well just finish the minor. I've come this so far, and all the college stress is gonna go away in like 2 years. And so like that's sort of how I ended up in like cybersecurity. Just like a really good professor who like mentored me really well.